Well, Pakistan off to a flyer at the Asia Cup. They were touted as hot favourites, and it was, as Ravi Shastri would say, a comprehensive win against Nepal. Only 104 on the board. Well, it was always going to be a tough task. Harsha Bhogle and Joy Bhattacharjya joined me on Cricbuzz Live. No surprise that the result is what it is, but one would have liked Nepal to put on a slightly better fight.
Irrespective of the style, it was comprehensive. Irrespective of the manner in which it was said, and in Ravi's manner have carried a little more weight maybe. But I think Nepal will look back at their batting effort and they'll be disappointed. Because at this level, I think they looked a little out of their league with the batting, especially when Haris Rauf came into bowl. He just seemed a little too quick. And then I didn't see too much resilience at the bottom. I mean, Shadab Khan is going to look at that and say, yeah, that's 4 wickets in my career. I play some very tough games and don't get wickets even if I bowl well. But that's among the easier 4 wickets that he's got in his career. So I think Nepal will look back and say, yeah, we're disappointed. 238 runs, yes, they conceded a lot of runs, but no. I mean, you had number 4 and 5 who clearly didn't like the pace.
Yeah.
So.
Fear, Joy, is an intangible in life, but it was visible today. It was tangible in the way Nepal faced those speedsters.
Yeah, look, as I said, they flattered to deceive. The first 2 balls, Kushal hit for 2 fours, and you felt that there was something here. And what Harsha was talking about, just standing out there and say, we will not be all out in the end of 50 overs. Something as simple a goal as that, saying they'll put it. And there was resistance, there were pieces. I mean, Arif Sheikh and Sompal Kami, when they put it together, when they were standing out there, they were batting, it looked as if they could put it together. But then once Haris Rauf got into their minds, I think once he started bowling, I think the entire batting, then they started backing away, and then it became difficult for the rest.
There was one moment when Arif Sheikh slogged at Haris Rauf and got 4 behind point on the offside. Might have been the last ball of an over, and he sort of had that, oh, what on earth do you think you're doing to me? Smile. And then the rocket started. And once the rockets started, they didn't like the rockets, especially Sheikh. He didn't like the rockets. And when he got out trying to slog, he should look at that in loop and say, I'm a top order batter. He was out trying to slog. Anybody who's ever at whatever level you play at, whether it's 4th standard, whether it's 10th standard, whether it's senior division, whatever, when you're afraid, you play shots like those because you just want to swing your bat. You don't back your defense to staying there. So I think from that point of view, they'll be a little disappointed. But I guess they'll tell themselves, look, we're up against one of the best attacks in the world.
I suppose he might have forgotten that he was wearing pads. He had protective gear on.
Look, the truth is things like this used to happen a lot more 15 years ago when there was not so much experience, not so much equipment, not so much video to see people. I think now when you have a situation like that, there is no problem today in a batsman being outskilled. And which is quite possible. You have bowlers the skill of Shaheen Afridi bowling, all these are very skilled bowlers. But to be intimidated the way they were today, perhaps in a match, in an ODI format, perhaps, if it was a test match, it's a different thing altogether. But in an ODI format, to be intimidated by that, perhaps did not do them justice. And I think Monty Desai will speak to them and say that, whatever it is, you can get out, everyone can get out. But it's how you got out is what the question is. And I think they'll look askance.
They would have never faced this kind of bowling, would they have?
I don't know. But at that level, maybe not the pace of Naseem Shah and Haris Rauf. I don't think Shaheen Afridi was at his best and he was still troubling them. He went off the field. I hope there's nothing the matter with him. But he went off the field. But he didn't look in his best rhythm. And yet, he picked up 2 wickets in the first over. That first one down the leg side. No, even Shaheen Afridi will say, "Nahi yaar, mat gino yaar wo." Shaheen Afridi swings the ball in and gets you in trouble, and then
It was that first over where he set the tone. It was never going to be easy for Nepal. It was a message from him, wasn't it?
Shaheen Afridi with the new ball is a story in the modern game by itself. It's amazing. I mean, he went across to play the 100. And he conceded a lot of runs in his first over. He took 3 wickets or 4 wickets, something like that. So he just takes wickets with that new ball. And it just tells me, we were discussing with Joy, the game over the last 120 years might have changed a lot. One thing hasn't changed. A left arm quick who swings the ball in at pace gets wickets.
Shaheen Shah Afridi gets rid of Rohit, the captain. What's Rohit, the other Rohit, the captain, thinking when he sees Shaheen do this?
He's thinking there's a slight difference in pedigree. I've hit 500s in the last World Cup. I'm one of the great white ball batters there's been in the game. So I'm sure that's what he's thinking.
But they do have.
But it's a great contest. Shaheen Afridi is one of the better bowlers in world cricket at the moment.
Now, this bowling lineup has sent a certain wave across the other teams in this lineup, in this tournament, as well as the World Cup. So if these guys are fit and ready and fighting together, they will be a handful at the World Cup.
They will definitely be a handful. There's no doubt about it. And see, that's the thing, that a lot of bowlers like Shadab gets wickets because they're also so relieved to get away from the pressure of the fast bowlers, and they want to try and tonk the spinners. So you're bound to Nawaz and Shadab are going to get wickets because of that also, because they'll feel forced to attack that part of the bowling. And I think that's a huge benefit for them.
Pitches are often talked about a lot, Harsha. Regardless of what the pitches are going to be in this tournament or the World Cup, pure pace is pure pace.
It doesn't matter. When you're quick through the air, the surface doesn't matter. Once it hits the surface, yes, with some surfaces it will slow down less, with some surfaces it will slow down more. It's a fallacy. It's the English language where it says ball gathered pace after hitting the deck. No, it just loses less pace. With some pitches it loses more pace. But if you're quick through the air, you almost take the pitch out of the equation. That is what people like Shoaib Akhtar did. That is what someone like a Bumrah could do when he's at full pace. Someone like Haris Rauf did today. It doesn't matter what the surface is. He'll just come running in and bowl fast.
Lessons for Nepal, because they had that one partnership which gave them some hope of at least putting on a fight. That partnership looked decent.
59 partnership. They looked, as I said, they looked really decent. And look at it there. 59 of 78, given this hole that they were in, is not a bad effort at all. And in the beginning, they were getting behind the ball. They were playing some nice shots. They were looking set. And then, as I said, that I think it's just that extra 5-10 kilometers per hour that sort of completely upset the equation. Because we were continuously, because, also considering that Shaheen was not looking completely in control. You're looking at the numbers and saying, okay, 136, 135, 140 is about the maximum touched. And then the moment Haris Rauf comes in, it's 148, 150, 150, that air zone. 10 kilometers per hour in that speed limit, that area it's a huge
There
difference.
is some wickets they'll be more disappointed by than the others. We were on, I think, on
Combox, yeah.
And Arif Sheikh, when he started to crank up, when he got out, it didn't surprise you because you could see that the wicket was coming. You could also see how the wicket was coming. So that they'll be a little disappointed by. Normally, you shouldn't be disappointed by the way a number 9 gets out. But when the number 9 turns up, he's your most pedigreed player. He's the one player who's played all around the world. But when he comes into bat and he slogs as if to say, "Yaar, chalo khatam kar de yaar." And you look at Sandeep Lamichan, look at the way he got out. And I think the message going round to everyone would not have been great. If he had said, "Yeah, I've played around the world. I'm not a great batter. I'm number 9 in this side, but you still have to get me out." It would have sent a better message around.
The other lesson that we've learned as well is never take pre-match chatter too seriously, because Kushal Malla was expected to come in at number 5, and then we saw Sompal come in, someone else came in as well. So
with every batter that came in, he kept saying, "Now Kushal Malla's coming." It's almost as if you had a vested interest. Now he's going to come in, and you look disappointed if he didn't.
I take previews very seriously. So maybe they have players who have the kind of flexibility that Rohit Sharma spoke about, what he expects from his team at the World Cup. Jasprit Bumrah, Shami and Siraj will be salivating the prospect of bowling at Nepal.
Will they get all 3 bowling together though? The one thing Pakistan have in their favour is they can have these 3 bowling together. Whereas India, I'm not sure India has the luxury of bowling those 3 together because both their spinners bat. So you got a Nawaz or a Shadab batting at 7-8, one of those 2. And then you can play your 3 quick bowlers, of whom Shaheen Afridi can bat. And if you remember the other day, they played a game where they needed 10 or 11 of the last over in a game, and batting were Haris Rauf and Naseem Shah, and they won it for them. That is what you mean by depth in the side. So they can afford to play these 3 because each of the 2 spinners, and Usama Mir, if he comes in to play the leggy, he can bat too. They have batting at 7 and 8. Now, if Kuldeep was that batter at 8, India would have played these 3.
But against Nepal, they can. Or can they not?
They should.
Should.
They should. Unless they want to test out the actual combinations they're playing. But I think Bumrah has been out for a while. Shami and Siraj haven't played for a while. So I think they might want to try all 3 out.
But what are they thinking about? What are the Indian batters thinking about the Pakistan trio?
I think right now they're not thinking. They would have seen this, they would have said great, but it's nothing they've seen here they haven't seen last year at the World Cup.
Yeah.
This is the same team. This is a guy bowling at 150. This is Shaheen Shah Afridi, who perhaps would have been even more devastating, in somewhere like Australia than he would be in India. So I don't think that's what's, and they're not looking this group stage, whatever game it happens. See, this group is not so much of a problem because you think that India would beat Bangladesh. I'm sorry, would beat Nepal.
Yeah.
So, whatever happens in India, Pakistan, both teams should be going through. It's the other group where the problem is.
But that's how the groups are structured.
Correct.
The groups were structured such that both teams go through anyway.
And India.
How is it that Nepal is in this group and not in the other? Because
Correct.
they don't want any situation whereby these two are not going to play each other again.
And you have the chance of play. Firstly, you're making sure of one match definitely, and then making sure that they'll maybe play twice also. Who knows?
More the merrier. But Virat Kohli will relish this kind of pace.
Yeah, what I would like to see from India is not give a wicket to the new ball and then see how the Pakistan bowling, how the response to not getting a wicket to the new ball. Because Shaheen Afridi has given them bad habits almost. Because he inevitably will take a wicket to the new ball. So don't give a wicket to the new ball. If after 10 overs you can even be 40-45 for no loss, it's a good start. And then you see how it goes. Because I think India's top three don't have a problem with pace. And I think if you go down, KL Rahul doesn't have a problem with pace. Shreyas Iyer has found his own way of playing against short pitch bowling. They will bowl short to him, he'll find a way to go around. So I don't think Hardik Pandya has a problem or Jadeja. So I don't think this Indian batting order has a problem with raw pace. This is pace with skill, I accept that. But if you don't give a wicket to the new ball, I'd like to see how they react.
What is it about this left arm angle that right hand batsmen are unable to solve?
Well, the good right-handers do. But it's just that when the left-hander swings it in, it seems to swing a lot later. And inevitably, when it swings from outside off, you're caught in front of the stumps. Whereas when the right armer tends to swing the ball away, if you miss the ball, you probably miss the edge and it's gone behind the stumps. Whereas here, there's an LBW and a bowl that come in very frequently. And the ball snakes in a little, I suspect. You'll have to ask someone who's played left arm swing at 140 kilometers an hour, but I think it swings in that much later.
Well, the reason we are talking so much about Pakistan versus India, because that's the next game Pakistan will play. That's on Saturday. That will be played in Kandy. But what about match number 2 of the Asia Cup? The caravan moves to the Pallekele International Stadium, where you will see the Nagin rivals, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka in action. Joy, unfortunately, the ones who are not in action are the bigger story for both teams.
Absolutely. I mean, the injury list of both those teams, the injury / players being dropped, players retiring, unretiring, and then being injured. I mean, it's a complete story out there. I mean, from Hasaranga from one side, Liton Das. I mean, the entire the entire Sri Lankan bowling attack has been totally decimated. Madhushanka is not there. I think Chamira is not there.
And no Lahiru Kumara is not there.
So they're really, I mean, they're missing at least 3 or 4 of their first 5 bowlers, and that's a huge blow for them.
Let's talk about Bangladesh first. Shakib Al Hasan is going to lead the side. Tamim, as he said, retired, unretired.
Now injured.
Now injured, yes.
Yeah.
And apparently the Prime Minister had to intervene as well. I don't know how far true that story is, but...
I don't know if she intervened. I think she just said, you're not retiring.
That's it.
That's it. You're not retiring. So the couple of names you want to look out for in this is Taskin Ahmed and Mustafizur Rahman, because both have been around for a long time. Taskin has had injury problems, but he's genuinely quick. Fiz is going through a sort of mid-career crisis. You don't quite know whether he's back at his best. But in the batting, it's amazing how many new players they've got. I'm looking at Mohammad Naeem. I think if I've got it right, there was a game in Delhi. Bangladesh played against India, and he played beautifully. I'm trying to be certain it was Mohammad Naeem. He looked very good, but he hasn't done a lot after that. But so many young players. So many young players. You've got the batch of 2005 and you've got the batch of 2020 all in one.
Yeah, it's a, and these are considered the 2 greatest.
2007,
batches.
sorry, not 2007.
7, yeah.
The Shakib and
Tamim
and Mushfiq.
Tamim Mushfiqur batch, and now you have these boys coming up, and there's some really exciting players. Tanzid is supposed to be really good, and the only thing is they'll miss Ibadat. They will miss Liton definitely.
Huge miss. Liton's become a bit of a habit for Bangladesh, isn't
I think he's the best white ball batter.
Yep.
I think Liton Das is the best white ball batter. So, see, I've got used to saying batter.
There are journalists that love him there. They call Liton's media there. Sorry, let's talk about Sri Lanka.
Oh God,
let's pull up the squad. Varendu Hasaranga, a huge miss. I don't think he's going to be in action. But again, the same story, Harsha. A lot of the names that we're not used to seeing. But do they have enough gas in the tank? Do they have enough names that can win them a one-day international?
Patirana, we've seen in the IPL, but when he's gone and played for Sri Lanka over a longer phase, he's not produced the same results. Pramod Madhushan has got a bit of pace about him. There's a couple of names to watch out for. A lot of promise in Dunit Wellalage. So that's one player to watch out for. But my two favourites in the batting order are there, Pathum Nisanka and Charit Asalanka. In the 50-over game, Dimut Karunaratne is playing so well for them. He's a proper batter, and I think he's found himself in 50 overs cricket now. Look how many keepers there are. Yeah. Can Kusal Pereira become... I mean, when you saw Kusal Pereira bat first, you thought, wow, this kid... I always thought an IPL franchise must pick him up. IPL franchises don't normally go in for overseas keepers. You know, you got a Quinton de Kock and there's not that many. But I actually thought Kusal Pereira would be that good. And then suddenly, I think he's put on a little bit of weight. He's in a lot of injury troubles. So let's see how he comes good. Kusal Pereira, Kusal Mendes, Pathum Nisanka, Charit Asalanka. That's a good batting lineup.
Great memory. Rattles off names.
No. You just hide them on the screen.
Yeah. No, also, I mean, look, really, Asalanka is a class bat, you know. And if they can get it, Shanaka has been a great leader of this side. If they can get it together, see, there's a very combative side. The whole issue is which Sri Lanka turns up. Because this, let's face it, is a group of death. Okay? All these three, and all of them have rivalries going against each other because all of them are sort of jostling in, sort of everyone thinks, you know, Asia, India and Pakistan are there on top. And then these three are bubbling under and everyone's pushing the other. So it's going to be a really, really tight group. And at this point in time, if you look at it, both of them are looking at each other and saying, both of us are depleted sides. Afghanistan is the one who is relatively injury-free. And it'll be really, this first match is the most important match of this group.
Yes, it's going to be fun. But before we say goodbye, quickly players to watch out for. He's mentioned his.
I mentioned 5, but there's one who changes the balance of that side, which is Dhananjaya De Silva, who when he gets going, he's an attacking player. But he's the one who gives you some bowling. Asalanka can bowl a bit, but really the person who's adding to the balance of that side is Dhananjaya De Silva, who can give you 5-6 overs.
Joy for you, players to watch out for?
Lots of them. In this side, I'm a huge fan of Asalanka. I really like Asalanka, and I've something in Kasum Rajitha tells me that, you know, he's one of the bowlers who makes a difference out here. Among the Bangladeshis, again, Tanzit Tamim, I'll go with him because, you know, up front, remember, Litton is going to return. That means both these openers, Naeem and he, will not play. One of them will play the World Cup, one will not. So for them, it's a straight elimination, you know. So both of them are going to be playing to retain their places for that World Cup. So it's going to be an important one, and it'll be interesting. It'll really be a tight match.
I've looked at some scorecards recently. I've not seen the play, but I like looking at scorecards when I'm not watching a game. It's a player called Tawheed Rudai. And I find when I look at the scorecards, he's scoring runs. So he's one of the players I'm going to be looking to see. But whenever Bangladesh take the field, a lot depends on those two guys. Mushfiqur Rahim, I think he's sort of walking into the sunset at the moment, from what I suspect. I think he's walking into the sunset. Him and Shakib. And the advantage for Shakib is that he bats at 3 or 4, where he goes up the order there. And I'm always confused between because they keep changing the spellings as well. Which is the Mehdi? There's a Mahedi and there's a Mehidi. The off-spinner who comes and bats at number 7, who's becoming a better and better batter with every season. So he's doing, we talked about Dhananjaya De Silva. I think Mahidi Hassan is that player for him. And can you imagine him and Shakib, two people who can bat at different ends of the middle order and be full-time bowlers?
Lots of big players missing, and that is also an opportunity for the ones who do get an opportunity tomorrow in the opening game for both these teams at the Asia Cup. We've got to have the Joy Factor answer, but let's pull up the question first. Let's remind ourselves of what Joy came up with. If it is currently Ravi Ashwin in Tests and Alpesh Ramjani in T20Is, who is it in ODI cricket?
And of course, easy one. These are the wicket takers leading wicket takers of 2023, the calendar year. So who does that leave you? The man who's really been playing a lot of matches, not against top sides.
And he played today. He didn't get a wicket today, though,
did he? He didn't get a wicket today. He didn't.
Lamichhane.
Sandeep Lamichhane.
Yeah, he got it after a lot of cues.
Because every single T20 game between countries, almost every, is a T20 international, you get some very quaint records. There's a player from Romania, there's a player from somewhere. All these people are up in the...
is, I think, playing for Uganda.
Hey.
And because there's so many T20s that they're playing in the African region, he's scoring a lot of runs out there.
So who's the winner? Who got it right? Let's find out who that person is. It wasn't a very difficult question given Joy's really tough standards, the standards that he set. Let's find out who the winner is if we have it.
Alpesh.
Omkar Mankame. So what does he get from you? Well done, Omkar, by the way.
He gets a thumbs up from Joy. You can see in the photograph. He'll take a screenshot of that and say, Joy gave me a thumbs up.
No flying kisses?
Flying kisses I leave to other people.
Not for Omkar.
It's not at this point, it's not going down very well, I have to say.
It's been a
Well,
fun...
so Joy and the flying kisses, anything we need to know? Joy and the flying kisses? Okay, we'll go on.
Sir, it's time for me to say goodbye because gotta go home, have a late dinner. You've had your sev puri and your fada and khichdi. Done for the day.
Done for the day.
Coming back tomorrow.
You're going to have dinner again?
No, not really. Not really. Ab milega nahi sir ghar pe.
But I saw you having a second lunch.
No, I didn't, sir. I just
And
had
then
some
I saw you
sev
having
puri.
dinner.
See, we have a separate chat show on food, which is not meant for public consumption. But we've got another half an hour in the studio left. But you guys go, have fun. Make sure you join us at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. It's Joy Bhattacharya and Zahir Khan will be in the
Oh,
studio.
you'll have a proper expert in the studio.
Come on now.
So the question that you asked me about why left arm swing always becomes difficult to face after all these years,
Is
remember to
for
ask
Mr.
Zach tomorrow.
Is for Mr. Khan tomorrow. We will get him to talk about Graham Smith as well, maybe. I don't know. Zach is usually very chilled out, very easy to talk to and work with. So he'll be here in this very chair with Joy Bhattacharya. I'll be here as well. So to join us at 2:30 on Cricbuzz Live. Bye for now. Good night.